Those of this station or its sponsors.
In the year 1898, Marconi sent his first radio message across the English Channel.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Let's have a tune. I'm sick of this silence.
There's nothing wrong with being fun and popular and just giving people what they want.
This is not a radio fantasy camp. We're on the air here.
You seem happy this morning.
Is it Friday already?
Friday.
All I'm doing is getting on the air. The revolution will be broadcast.
How about Friday?
What's this?
Did you ever hear of a thing called radio?
Thank God it's Friday!
It's show time.
Live from the Robinson Auto Group studios in the heart of the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. And you may ask
Good morning, Ohio Valley. Welcome to the Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Today, featuring your substitute teacher, Butch Maxwell. Second day, sitting in for the myth, the man, the legend, Howard Monroe. He will be back on Monday, but today, you're stuck with me. I'm glad to be stuck with you. We've got a lot of things on the agenda today, including good morning to Biff Leonard. Biff, how you doing today?
Good morning, Butch. Not too bad for a Friday, end of the week, and the start of the new month here.
Start of the new month. It's October.
Man, I
already.
know it's whew,
Yeah.
almost done with the year.
Yeah, it's coming up. You know, started your Christmas shopping yet?
No, not yet. although I'm sure after hearing reports from last week or 2 weeks ago about having to do it early, may have a little bit, but
Might be a good idea.
yeah, it might be. You never know. Now, I mean, we laugh at that. Oh, October. Well, you never know.
Yeah, in years past, we complained about, Halloween decorations being, up at the same time as Christmas decorations. But maybe there's some sense into that. I don't know. Looks like a beautiful weekend, though, doesn't it? Got Ogilvy Fest this weekend, and for a change, I mean, it seems like every year it rains over Ogilvy Fest weekend, and this year it doesn't look like it's gonna be raining. At least not until Sunday. At least anyway, there's a chance.
I think Sunday, and then maybe into the early part of next week. But today looks great. Tomorrow looks great, and that's good. That's what we want.
That's what we want. Yes, and I'll have the entertainment update and everything later today during Bill DeFabio's show. I'll be back on the air with Bill to sort of give you the update on what my very good friends are doing in and around the Ohio Valley, playing some music and performing some theater and stuff like that.
So you're part of that busy Friday that Bill has with all the coaches and everything.
He still squeezes me in on Friday for about half an hour, and he has to torture me with one of the things he does is goes through the oldies on this date and in a year in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and inevitably, of course, the 70s. I just have to groan and moan at the terrible music that was on the charts in the 70s. But that's one of our features.
I was going to say, if you want, I mean, I could kind of give you a heads up. I mean, I've already got it printed. So
you got that all printed out?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. All right, let's do that.
I can let you kind of see it beforehand.
All right.
That way you know what to expect.
Then I won't be surprised. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's do that in the 7:30 block. For right now, though, I'd like to preview kind of what we're going to be doing today. We've got. I've got a couple of guests coming in. I've got in the 9 o'clock hour. From the Wheeling YWCA, I've got Laura Weigel, who is the director of the WIND program at the YWCA. And she'll be here along with Jennifer Sorg, who is the peer recovery specialist. So we'll be talking about some of the things that the YWCA has to offer. Also, in the 8 o'clock hour, I've got a special guest who's going to be talking about the march tomorrow in Wheeling, the Women's March for Reproductive Rights that's scheduled for Saturday morning. So I hope you can tune in. I'm really eager to talk to her and find out what's going on with that, and also maybe have a little conversation about the larger legal implications of the new some of the new very restrictive laws that are going on the books all over the country, notably in Texas, that prevent women from having abortions effectively at all, at all. And this is a law in Texas now. And I think that's probably what precipitated this particular march. And there's also a lot of disinformation that has been out in various media outlets, sometimes through paid advertising, that suggests that West Virginia is looking at legalizing all abortions, including late-term abortions, and that. So I would like to talk to a legal expert and see if that is true, or if that is, as I suspect, is disinformation. But I don't know that I'm qualified to speak to that very well, with great authority, at least, put it that way. So I'd like to have somebody with authority here who could help us sort out what all this means. And another question, big question I have about this is, part of the Texas law suggests that, well, it empowers citizens to take civil action against anyone who gets an abortion in violation of Texas law, or anyone who helps facilitate that. So, even say the Uber driver who takes a woman to an abortion clinic would also be, you could be sued. And so I don't understand that. And the real thing I don't understand is how just any citizen has standing. That's just a legal nuance that I would like to have explained to me. So perhaps our guests will be able to explain that. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope that you'll find that informative too. So we've got a couple of good hours to discuss that. The big news overnight has been, probably I'm going to change my mind about what the top news story is, because we are a live and local radio station. So let's talk about what locally is going to happen that's going to affect your life, and that is the traffic pattern changes on Interstate 70. Now, Biff, as I drove in this morning, I looked over. I come from the east into downtown, and I looked over on the west side of the interstate, and that part of the highway is not yet open, but apparently a section of the eastbound Interstate 70 is going to reopen, so you will be able to leave downtown Wheeling and go through the tunnel and cross over the Fulton Bridge sometime today.
Thank goodness.
Yes, isn't that great news?
It is, especially if you have to get to the Grove or anywhere out there. It was always go either 470, or for me it was 29th Street. Go to Bethlehem, go down over the hill, and now that the tunnel's going to be open again, it can just stay right there and not have to worry about getting off.
We won't have that view of Wheeling Hill and Fulton. How many of us have traveled that road and just have to scrutinize all of the Fulton neighborhood there and stuff. And it's not a bad neighborhood. It's actually kind of interesting because you can sort of look at the remnants of the community that was once there. You can see portions of walls and that was really built up at one time. In fact, an old blacksmith shop was revealed when one of the older houses that had been in front of it it's now exposed, and it's very cool because it looks like it's sort of built into the side of the hill. So it's kind of interesting. But yes, now you can just travel on Interstate 70, at least soon, sometime today. You'll be able to do that. But what is happening that's going to be continuing to be sort of disruptive is now, starting on Monday, you're not going to be able to get off of the Fort Henry Bridge and exit onto downtown Wheeling and Main Street. That exit is going to be closed. That's expected to be closed for about 4 months. So that will be kind of a pain. So what you're going to have to do is, if you're coming from the west and you want to go into downtown Wheeling, you're going to have to go through the tunnel and get off at the 16th Street exit, and that will then take you to downtown Wheeling from the southern end of the downtown district. But that too will pass. So in about 4 months or so, then the traffic pattern will be just about where we'd hoped it would. This is all part of a major project, the $215 million West Virginia Division of Highways project, and ultimately they're going to replace or rehabilitate 26 bridges. And these bridges were built in the 50s, so they really needed to be redone. So we're very happy for that, and I'm sure Wheeling Hospital will be happy that their traffic patterns have been reestablished. So that's good news. So I think that's probably on the top of a lot of people's minds, at least those who have to deal with that sort of driving disruption. So there's good news. And as I mentioned earlier, of course, this is Ogilvy Fest weekend, so there's a lot of that stuff going on. Overnight, the big national story, yeah.
Before we get to that, Butch, let's go to Tom.
We got Tom. Oh, yes, my good buddy Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
Hey, Butch. It's good to hear you, man.
Yeah, good to hear you, too. Thanks for your call.
I used to build pools, man. But, one of the excavators she says, to run that skidster, what you got to do is slam your fingers in the car door in the morning and stuff and get you in the right frame of mind. I'm just suggesting to you, maybe choke up to the microphone a little bit and get a little bit half pissed off and we can hear what you're saying.
Oh, my a little low volume today? Okay, I'll...
Get like a sensitive mic or something when you're talking to.
Okay, yeah. I'll do it so right now I'm leaning in the rock and roll way.
That sounds good, man.
Good, all right, thank you. Thanks for the technical advice.
As far as Texas and the lawsuits and all that,
yeah,
maybe the people who have like $50,000 worth of damage to their house, maybe they should sue EPCO or whatever that power company was that decided, not to weatherize any of their gas lines or their electric lines. I mean,
I think they would actually have a pretty good case for that. Especially a class action suit or something like that. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
But I think I don't know whether the name of that power company or whatever is EPCO or something like that. But they just made all the wrong moves when they designed their power grid and stuff, and then you couldn't get electricity from the rest of the country because they're isolated. They wanted to be independent and whatnot and stuff, but.
Yeah, they didn't want to be on the national grid, so so that's what happens when you're fiercely independent. Is you live by that, you die by that. And, that's a shame.
I didn't hear him complaining though when they were getting 40% of their electricity from windmills.
Yeah, right.
And then the minute their windmills don't freeze in Colorado because they put heaters on them and stuff. But I mean,
yeah, and this is typical of what a lot of this. We are most definitely in an era of global climate change, and we need to do something about all of our infrastructure in order to protect it against extreme weather conditions, because we know that is a done deal. That is reality. That's what's happening, and that's part of what the president's Build Back Better agenda is supposed to be about. Anyway, is shoring up our infrastructure.
When George Bush was governor, he's the one that created the tax incentives for them to put all those windmills in.
Yeah.
They have more windmills than any other state in the union.
I didn't know
Mainly
that.
because they're huge. They're huge. Yeah, more than California and Colorado. I'm not keeping score of it, but...
But that's incredible, especially considering you normally think of Texas as being an oil and gas state.
But 40% of their electric, that's a lot.
It is. It's
from windmills.
Yeah. And I don't know. I hear so many very conservative people rail against windmills and things like that. You know, actually, the last president said that windmills cause cancer, right? So.
What?
Oh yeah,
Cause
that was
cancer?
yeah. The windmills cause cancer. That was just one of those fly-by lies that Trump.
Well, I hear birds fly into them occasionally and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, and so they'll try to do this. You liberals love wildlife so much. Well, that windmills kill a lot of birds too. And,
well, have there been any lawsuits about the abortion clinics or anything yet, or has anything come of that?
Yeah, there has been one, and this is a lawsuit that someone who's trying to challenge the law has brought up. And I don't have a lot of information on that, Tom, but I did hear that earlier this week. That there has been a challenge already, so we think that, and it's from somebody on the progressive side who's really just trying to show that to take this law to the Supreme Court and get it struck down. However, I don't know. With the Supreme Court stacked the way it is right now, it seems likely that it could bring down Roe v. Wade if it gets up in front of it.
The funny thing is, a few years ago when all this started, when the right wing started going after the abortion clinics and whatever, I mean, a lot of people get their birth control pills from there. I mean, if you want to prevent abortions, maybe just give people more birth control options.
That's so true. Yeah, and I wonder too about there's a morning after pill that you can take too. Now you wouldn't know whether or not you're pregnant, but if there was a chance, if you had unprotected sex or something like that, and you thought, well, okay, it might be possible that I become pregnant and I can take this pill. Now is that illegal in Texas too? I don't think so. I think that's one workaround that is possible, but I don't know. There's a lot to consider with this.
There were certain pharmacists that was against their religious. They had religious objections to passing out the abortion pills or whatever. But
oh yeah,
for the morning after pills.
Right, and there's some companies like Hobby Lobby who will not allow their health insurance for their employees to cover birth control.
Yeah.
Which is heinous. I think it's just they are inflicting their moral code on their employees, and it's totally. I mean, it's legal because where you work, you've got to abide by the rules of where you work. But then again, we also have a precedent in this country for not allowing discriminatory practices, like even hiring practices and things like that. So again, I think we're on kind of legal fuzzy ground there, and I'm saying this as a totally unqualified person to talk about the law, but it does seem to me reasonably that you could bring a lawsuit for that kind of a policy too that Hobby Lobby has.
My wife's biggest problem back when we had to worry about getting pregnant was they would charge you like $150 for the pap smear to get the birth control.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, birth control's expensive enough, without the $150 test for the pap smear. But,
right.
Hey, did you ever check out the Jayhawks yet or not, man?
I've not. No, I got to do that. I definitely want to.
You really have to. The more I listen to them, I've listened to them since I've had a couple of their CDs since like '92. But the more I listen to them, they're excellent. But what's funny was when they started, they had real long hair and had color in their hair, and now they're all like old and gray.
They're all gray, just like me. Yeah. I started out.
in 30 years, it's like, what the hell happened to these guys? But they still sound good, man. Seriously, check them out.
I will. I think you know my musical taste well enough that I trust you.
Right.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, hey,
you'll be impressed. Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Okay, thanks so much for calling, Tom.
Bye.
Thank you, my good friend Tom. Yeah, that's it's kind of amazing. I got a few other things coming up that I want to talk about before I have any guests, including some news on InfoWars and the guy who's at the center of that. And I do want to talk a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about Rudy Giuliani. He's another one of my favorite people to talk about. So yeah, there's a lot of news. With just some crazy stuff happening in the world today, and I'd like you to stick around because we've got an exciting 2.5 hours yet to go here this morning on the morning show with Howard Monroe, along with your substitute teacher, Butch Maxwell. We'll be right back after these words.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headlines from 7 News at WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ABC Ohio Valley. Only on AM 1600 WKKX. The Watchdog.
When your happy place puts a smile on your face, call or book online today.
Out of the